So it's crazy to believe that I watched this young lady as Balika Vadhu, and now she's making her full-fledged debut in a horror film, 1920 Horrors of the Heart. So Avika Gor, a warm welcome to you on filmeshilmy.com, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me here because this is my opportunity to reach out to my UK audience. And, it feels really nice that my film is doing so well that it has to release in different parts of the world so that people can watch us, love us, and admire the work that we do. It really means a lot for me to, do this interview with you because this is, like I said, my opportunity and my way to reach out to my audience there. In my career, horror is something that I haven't done till now, like a full-fledged horror film. I've done a horror comedy down south, but that's comedy, right? So it's like a very different genre completely. This one was very special. I always wanted to be a part of something that challenges me in a way. And as an actor, I think I'm glad that this is something that happened to me. I was the chosen one because the script revolves around me. The script revolves around this girl, Meghna, and her journey uh, for, Baba Ka Badla and all of that. I think it's just that, it's not just a horror film to me. As an actor, there are few kind of characters or few kind of films that you choose, and you always want to be associated with that big name. And for me, I think 1920 was that example because when you talk about Hindi films and especially horror Hindi film, the one name that comes to your mind is 1920, and it's a such a successful franchise that it becomes a very big responsibility for you to be a part of it and for me to be the face of it because like all the posters and everywhere it's about Meghna, it's about my character. And I think I'm glad that I get to be a part of such a huge team. Mahesh Bhatt, Vikram Bhatt, these names are, they were always on my, like always dream big and we always have those list of people we want to work with. They were on my list, and I never thought this day would come this early in my life. So for me to be a part of a horror film, that too with them, the best in what they do, I think I was just lucky and the blessed one.
Right. And I think what's really special as well about horror, I mean, if you look at Ada Sharma's work in the first one, I mean, that really brought out the essence of her acting, in terms of, and I feel like even horror generally has that ability to do because you have to react, where because अगर आप ज़्यादा कर पाते हो तो फिर वो cringe बन जाता है.
Yeah.
So it has to be all in balance and all in check. So I think for you, whilst playing the character that you did, because there's so many layers of the film, there's obviously like a father-daughter story. There's obviously this story about revenge and dealing with sinister energies. What helped you to dissect these layers and translate that through your craft as an actor?
I think the best part was that the writing was so strong that when I read the script or when I read about my character, I just completely understood it. And when I say understood it, it means the depth of it, the layers, the values that this character holds, the feelings, the emotions that she feels when she's going through something or when things are happening to her in her life. You know, it was just written so beautifully that I did not really have to think too much because it was just there and right in front of me. And my director has been um you know very very clear about what she wanted, the way she wanted me to stand, the way she wanted me to react to a certain thing. And she was just so good with just narrating it to me that it became very easy for me. It was a very easy job for me on this set because everything was kind of prepared for me. And I think when you have such a team where Mahesh Bhatt, Vikram Bhatt, everybody is like involved when they're so experienced, and I think their experience in horror is what helped this film be the way it is because it's not just about, like I said, it's not just about the horror. It's there are so many emotions, the layers. I think there is so much that a new director like Krishna Bhatt wouldn't have understood without the support of Mahesh Bhatt and Vikram Bhatt. So I really give that credit to them because the level of understanding they have for human emotions because of their experience of these many years and because of their exposure to the genre, which is horror. I think that helped a lot. And also, we all know that, Bhatts are very famous for their music. When I heard the music, I just knew that this is what this character should feel. This is what she is going through. So it helped me as an actor to, be Meghna. And it was fun. It was really fun. There is a big talk around about nepotism, about insiders, outsiders, and just so tired of hearing all of this. And I remember being on that set and never feeling like Krishna Bhatt is Vikram Bhatt's daughter. She was the director. She was deserving enough to be there on that chair. She made sure that everybody around listens to her. And nobody, listened to her because she was somebody's daughter. She was there because, the way she uh, held her mic, or the way she told the actors how to do things, I think that just shows how much comfort you have with the idea of your craft. And she is just so confident with what she does, and the kind of I think liberty that Mahesh ji and Vikram ji gave it to her, because they did not really interfere with her vision. Mahesh ji definitely wrote the script and with his team, but he never told Krishna that this is how the scene is supposed to be done. Krishna was the one to tell them, this is how I want it to be, and I think it should be. And that's how they wrote it. So, just the fact that that young woman on that set was actually like they say, captain of the ship, it made me feel so proud that, and that was a big realization for me, because even I used to believe in all of those things of how insiders are, not letting the outsiders be a part of all of this. And I used to believe all of that, but when I saw the struggles that she went through, because at the end of the day, it is her consciously working on it every day to make sure people believe she deserves it. It is a very big challenge for her to be a part of a horror franchise, that to 1920, which is, already people just resonated with Vikram Bhatt. So for her to take up that challenge to make sure that, it releases in theaters, I think it's a very big challenge, and like a suicide mission of sorts. So for her, I really understand that, to just make sure that she doesn't do anything wrong, and just level her benchmark that the father has set. I think all of that is just way too like it's always been behind the camera. Not many people are aware of the struggles that people go through when they are the insiders. And when I saw all of that, I realized that there's a different world completely, because we all thought it's just difficult. Sorry, it's just difficult for the outsiders, but that's not true. They have to prove a point. They have to make sure people realize what the value of their creativity is. So these were the reasons I started to like her even better, because I saw the kind of person she is. She used to really work hard, and I really like that about her. Now I can call her a very good friend, and I feel very proud saying that it's my friend's directorial debut. And it just feels so nice to even know her and the kind of person that she is, that it just makes me believe in her more and believe in this film more.
But I mean, surely, Avika, I mean, to reach a 1920 Horrors of the Heart, it's not been easy, right? I mean, how have you not allowed yourself to get bogged down by the negatives and the whole toxic nature of the industry as well?
So, I would like to tell you how 1920 happened. Vikram Bhatt called me one day and he said, this is the film. He narrated the whole script. And obviously, like any other director narrating, I expected it to be a narration and followed by an audition. It was like a natural thing to happen. But instead, he said, we want you. When are your dates available? And we do not need any audition as such. And that was a big surprise for me, because a Vikram Bhatt knowing that an Avika Gor existed, I thought he's just calling like few shortlisted people to, audition for something like this, and something so huge, right? But just the fact that it was meant to happen is what I'm believing in. Because Before this, yes, I had a couple of big Hindi projects that I was supposed to be a part of, which didn't work out. And I obviously felt really bad about it. I used to feel that regret ki, kash ye ho jata, and all of those feelings were there. But as soon as I realized that something this big just came, this opportunity was right there in front of me. And this is not usual, right? What if I did not pick up that call that day? What if I did not, take that leap of faith there? I really believe that this was meant to happen and out of nowhere. That we do not have any common, friends or common people who would speak about me to him. None of that. He just thought of me about for this character, and this is how it happened. So I truly believe that if something is supposed to happen for you, it will.
Hmm.
For me, I have had those, disappointments where, things just are almost finalized, but they don't work out and big names are involved. So you don't even want to question them too much that, why it didn't happen or any of that. So you just let it go. And you obviously feel that grudge for a while, you know. But at the end of the day, if those projects would have happened in my life, I wouldn't have been able to give my dates to 1920. So I feel so glad now. Obviously, in that moment, I used to feel very bad about the fact that they didn't work out. But now I feel so glad. I feel so happy that, like they say, everything happens for a reason. I truly believe in it now, especially after this particular incident in my career, because otherwise I would have always felt that I should have done that film, I should have done that. But no, now on, it's just that if something comes up to me, if it doesn't work out, maybe there's room for something better. It's as
Hmm.
simple like
And I think for the longest amount of time, there was that whole star element, people wanting to be stars rather than actors. But I think what's happened now, एक mindset shift हो चुका है audiences का और I think creators का simultaneously. Because अब quantity की बात नहीं है, quality की बात है. It's not about, you playing a small part in a big budgeted film with, major names, but more about you. It might be a humble film, but you having a
that.
character and a role which is very
Hmm.
meaty and that really extrapolates a lot out of you as an actor.
Right.
Do you also feel that, you've kind of been in that gear mode of actually just sort of like working on content driven roles and quality roles rather than
And to
sorry.
add to that, if you have seen any of my Telugu films and whoever has seen that work of mine in South India, all my scripts, all my characters have been either the most important ones in the film or the story revolved around them.
Hmm.
And I think that was a conscious choice to do something like that. I did not want to do anything that comes my way. I have said no to like thousands of projects maybe, but that's a choice. That's a very conscious choice that, when a random family decides to go to the theaters on a Friday, why would they go to see something, that Avika is doing, which she has done multiple times? They want to see something different. It's, I think, their expectation that, Avika should do something interesting. And why not? I think that's the reputation I have earned in these many years, that, whatever I have been doing, people are acknowledging the quality, people are acknowledging the kind of content I'm being a part of. And I think that as an actor becomes a responsibility of sorts, because now, even in South, like after doing almost 15, 16 films, even now, I just don't randomly go say yes to a film just because there are big names involved. I don't do that, because it just feels like, no, my audience wouldn't like it. My
Hmm.
audience would want me to be the most important one, like the way I've done over the years. And all my characters have been very different. So I truly believe that now people are very understanding and open to seeing different kind of content. They just don't want one star face, and I think we are all over that. Even
Hmm.
now, even me, I as an audience, I love watching different actors, new faces. I love watching them. I love to see what they have to offer. I love to see new writers coming up. There are so many brilliant series, and especially I think because of OTT, these newer people are getting these chances. And I think I think that adds a lot of value to the industry. That does add a lot of value. And even when I speak about this, I'm very much aware that, my production stuff, 3 films that I've made, 2 of them are under post production, and one is released and is on Amazon Prime. So, when I look at all of it, and when I talk about all of this, I'm not just talking about all of this as just an actor. I'm also understanding how a producer would think. And, we as, I can't call myself a producer with just one film, but yeah, we as producers, we also encourage people to come up with new stuff. We Because we understand that now it's not just about getting a face and anything and everything will work. No, that doesn't happen anymore. We need good content, and I think uh, the reason I say that, I'm glad the other 2 projects didn't happen and I got to do 1920 is because the content here makes me believe in the thoughts that I always had when I was choosing for my South projects. I did not really have that confidence in Hindi. That is why I was, going ahead with whatever opportunity was in front of me. I was not being greedy, but seeing a bigger team and getting excited. But at the end of the day, this is what my image is, this is what my reputation is, and I think I should stick to it.
Hmm. But do you think because you have begun acting and, being in this really big, crazy industry from a very young age, do you think that's had, matured you a lot more quicker, do you think, in life?
100%. The kind of exposure I had at the age of 8, I don't think a lot of people have. The kind of exposure I have now, I don't think a lot of people of my age would even understand what it means. So I truly believe in that, and I think, like they kind of say that, you get what you're meant for. And I think because I understand these things, and because I understand the depth of it, and because I understand these things, is why a film like 1920 happened to me. When I was talking to Vikram ji, Mahesh ji, and Krishna, the director, I realized that they were looking to have somebody on board who would understand what this character is going through. Because not every 21-year-old, like this character is, not every 21-year-old would feel the emotions or understand the emotions that this character knows. So they wanted a younger face, but they wanted the maturity of somebody who would understand what this means. So, I think that is one thing that people really appreciate about me, and I like it. Even in South, there are projects that I've been a part of, and I remember going to a set, and obviously, a lot of people are not as experienced as I am when it comes to the number of years that I've worked, and they just just want to hear me. They just come sit next to me, and they just want to like, तुम बात करो, हमें बस सुनना है. And I'm like, मैं क्या बात करूं? Like, no, we understand that you just talk normally, but we get to learn so much. And when you hear these kind of things, it makes you realize that whatever has been given to me is rare, and I should not take this for granted. So everything in my life just boils down to not do not take this for granted. It's like, I remind myself every day that the maturity or the understanding or the patience that I have, none of this would have happened if I did not have the experience I had from TV or, the other past work that I did. So I do not take a minute for granted. And I really believe that a lot of people in this country would want to live the life that I live. They would want to be where I am because I hear it. There are so many people on social media. There are so many people who meet me and say these things that you inspire us. This is what we want to do in our life. We want to become a producer at the age of 23. I hear these things and I realize that what I've made so far, what I've earned though so far is not easy. And I do pat my back sometimes, but when it's needed, I do, tell myself that this is not it. You cannot be the person who knows it all. So you need to work hard as much as you have done since so many years. You need to continue this because that is the reason people love you, people respect you.
Mhm.
So I, as much as I love getting the attention I get, I also keep myself consciously away from it when I need to. Because at the end of the day, the kind of industry this is, it might mess with your head in a way that might start make you believe it starts to make you believe sometimes that this is it, you've got enough. But that's not the reality, and that delusion is something that you need to realize sometimes. So I kind of make sure that every day when I wake up or when I'm going to sleep or whenever in the day I get certain thoughts, the first thing I tell myself is to not take this for granted, and I make sure I practice this every day.
Wow. You definitely are such a inspiration because I feel like, you know, a lot of the times, even if we look in Hollywood as well, you know, there's been so many cases and incidents when, you know, fame has unfortunately led them the wrong path and they've unfortunately ended up doing some very negative and toxic things to themselves as well as in
Yes.
their lives. And it really hurts me when I see that because I feel like it's such talented and gifted individuals that suffer so much. I think for you again, Avika, do you think it was, you know, a very slippery slide as well for you? Do you think in order to not perhaps indulge or get carried away, because like you mentioned, you know, to not get, you know, fully engrossed with the whole fame aspect, what do you think helped you to kind of stay afloat actually?
I think the biggest support system was, I think, the support around me, people around me. I think they really protected me, be it my co actors, my technicians on my set, or my family. And the best part is that my family does not belong to this industry. So they were as innocent as I was. They still get those, butterflies in their tummies when there is a release coming up. And my mom still goes to temples and does all of those things कि बस इसकी ये
Oh,
पिक्चर अच्छी हो जाए इसके बाद मैं ये करूंगी वो करूंगी. And I think that innocence is what kept me believing that this is the right way to live and this is how it should be. And also people around me, like I said, on the sets, I don't remember doing anything else but having a constructive, productive day. On the set, whenever I was free, there were people who asked me to, go read this book, come back, tell us what is in the book. So they made sure that my mind was in the, brain was used in the right direction. Then there were people like my co-actor Manish Rai Singhan. He made sure that I was, given the right kind of exposure, like watching different kind of films, Korean films. I watched Friends because of him. So, there were so many things that I didn't know existed. He kind of, made me realize that all of this is also like a part of the industry. You should know all of these things, the knowledge. And other than that, we also started to make short films and all of that on Sasural Se Marka set. So because of those short films, I think that was the reason we went to Cannes Film Festival twice. So I think,
mhm.
when you have such kind of surroundings around you who just want you to grow, and that too in the right direction, I think in that moment we all hate it because that's too strict. I want to go have fun. I want to go do this. But that's the right thing happening with you. And I think I started to realize it sooner. And I think that is why it did not affect me the way it affected a lot of people in this industry. And I also believe that, if these support systems weren't there, I don't know what I would have put down. I mean, what would have happened to me? I think there were so many reasons for me to kind of go in the wrong direction. I mean, now I think of it, I realize that I've been so blessed with such positive surroundings where there were people around me teaching me how to meditate when I was 12. Who does that? So,
Hmm.
yeah, the kind of surroundings I had is, I think, the main reason that kept me grounded. And obviously the innocence that my parents have, I think they just make me believe that it's nice to be simple.
Yeah, and it's good to know that actually because I've heard and seen a lot of stories where, parents of, child talents, would be very pushy and very keen on, you
So
know,
in my case, a lot of people also ask me this question that when I was shooting for Balika, I was so young. How did I manage my school and studies and everything? And in my house, I remember having such conversations with my parents where they made sure that I don't look at studies as an option. It was supposed to be done. There was no option given to me. This is something that is happening like a hobby, which is acting. If you want to continue it like a hobby, do that. Everybody has their hobbies. Everybody goes to school, comes back, goes plays cricket, or goes to swimming classes. If you want to maintain acting like that, do it. Otherwise, don't do it. Like this was the clear conversation in my house, and I liked it because at the end of the day, I realized that if I wanted to, I remember on the sets of Balika, there were situations when I saw somebody with a new laptop or a new mobile phone, and I used to tell my parents, I also want a phone. And I remember them asking me that, did you finish that chapter of yours? Like, no, yes, no, nothing like that. They were like, did you finish that chapter? Okay. When is your exam next? Okay. Did you prepare for it? And they used to make me realize that if I get good marks or if I really do what I need to, that means I'll be earning that phone for myself. So, that kind of upbringing kind of made me realize that nothing comes easy. Of course, because being in this industry, attention is one thing that definitely comes easy. But
mm.
again, that is one of the reasons I don't take it for granted.
I mean, full respects goes to uncle and auntie. I think they've done such a wonderful job. And I think that's so, again, I think every Indian parent can really look up to that of how you can, because, I feel for the longest amount of time, you know, people don't take acting or anything creative as a serious profession. I mean, even with me as a journalist, people are like, हाँ, बस Instagram पे कुछ करता रहता है, पता नहीं
So
stars के
there was one more thing that I wanted to add to this, and I
yeah.
think this would be a very big value addition for the people who are watching this. So my parents, after Balika, there was Sasural Simarka, which happened within I think 6 months after leaving Balika. So it was a very quick transition from one show to the another. But after that, I did Lado too, and then
Hmm.
before Khatro Ke Khiladi, I took 1 year of gap. And that 1 year, a lot of people kept asking me, when are you coming back to TV? What is going on? Which is the next show? And all of that. And everybody was definitely excited to see me in the next project. But that 1 year was taken after my 12th grade. And that was told by my parents. They said, take this 1 year because this is the time usually people decide what they want to do in life. So you take this 1 year. If you still want to go back to acting, is when you go back to acting. So it should be your choice.
Hmm.
It shouldn't be something that you've been doing, you're comfortable, and that's why you want to do it. So
Hmm.
I think that liberty that they give, because see, at the end of the day, a lot of people might assume that if there is a career set of acting as a child actor, why not just continue that? Or because the money is flowing in, and for us, money also does matter a lot. It's a middle class family, of course. So, a lot of people might have thought that these are the reasons, for parents to get their child into the industry and all of that. But here I was given a choice. I was given that liberty to take that 1 year completely all by myself to understand whether I want to act or no, whether I want to direct. They also told me that if you want to someday tell us that you don't want to act anymore, you want to be behind the camera, because by then I was already making the short films and everything. So they said, if you want to do that, focus on that, but take this 1 year to decide for yourself. Do not include us. We are not going to give any suggestions. So they gave me that freedom to choose for myself. So I really wanted to add that because, I've seen that happen a lot around me where people are just telling their sons or daughters to do what they want or they think they should. Even when I had a career set, they asked me to again choose, again think. So I think that's a very great thing that they did, because now when I do something nice or do something that didn't work for me, the thought is not that ये तो बचपन से हो रहा था इसलिए I got carried away with it. No, it's a conscious decision. It's a choice that I made, and this is like I have to be accountable for it. Like, these are the thoughts I get, and I feel very proud of that.
And so you should be as well. Huh? I think it's very important. But I think for me, spirituality is so important. And I think in an industry like the creative industry, especially, uh, I think, कभी कभी कोई option ही नहीं होता है हमारे पास except for, sort of referring to a spiritual energy of any kind,
Hmm.
reaching up to that higher power. In fact, I think I'm going to associate this with 1920 actually, because there's this one scene, I'm sure you've seen the first one, where in the end, where he recites the Hanuman Chalisa to, get rid of the negative energy, get rid of the sinister energy. And I think that was such a powerful scene. I think even more nowadays, actually, it's got a lot more traction online. But I think I'm gonna use this in your example in your life, Avika. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you must have been, uh, surrounded by dark energies, by darkness at some point. Everyone has, right? Everyone does go through that. If you could recount a time when spirituality or perhaps the light helped you, faith helped you in overcoming that dark situation.
It's so beautiful that you asked me because I'm sitting exactly where my uh, prayer is.
Oh,
I I have a cross here. Then I have like all of it is right here.
oh, great.
So I am a very spiritual person, and I do believe that when you understand life is when you start to understand what you can do with it. And there are two directions. One is the negative one of, you just making yourself, you just start to make yourself the victim and think that why are these wrong things happening to me and just me and why me? That is the negative direction. And the other direction is to, move on, to learn something from the experience and, do something about it
Hmm,
positively.
hmm,
So for me, I have definitely, I have a lot of belief in the universe. I do believe that there is energy, and in my language, I would say the vibe around us that keeps us going.
yeah.
And I think to keep it positive, or to keep the whole idea of you thinking positive, only happens when you sit with yourself alone, only happens when you're honest with yourself. And I think that happens when you really shut your eyes, meditate for a while, and you realize where you're going wrong. You are not honest to everybody around you ever. I mean, it's just you can be honest with. And I think I have definitely had those times when I took that intense feelings that were inside me, I took them out, and just I did let it all out, and I prayed, and there's no end to it. I still do. I still make sure that that spiritual part of me is there. I practice a lot of things. I practice Reiki. I practice many different meditations, and I I feel that these tools of Reiki and meditations and everything, these are the tools that help me understand myself better. They make me realize things faster. They make me move on faster. They make me feel good about myself overall. They make me realize how good I am, that I can understand what is this power given to me, which is me practicing Reiki. I don't I know a very few people of my age who understand and believe in all this, but I do, and
Hmm.
I love that. And I think that is my personality. And a lot of people do tell me this, that you sometimes, when it comes to spirituality, you speak like a 60-year-old and all of that. But I like it. I want to be a 60-year-old spiritually. Why
Please,
not?
please do. And I think, you know what? I think it's so wonderful because I think अगर अब देखा जाए तो एक आध्यात्मिक जो uh, space चल रहा है इंडिया में, I think at the moment it's so wonderful because not only are the films that we're seeing, content that we're seeing, societally as well, we're all kind of looking inward. And I think that's so wonderful to kind of see that renaissance happening in the world,
Yes.
and I'm very, very pleased to hear that. But look, I think 1920 is obviously a huge film for you, and obviously there's, it's a big opportunity, and I'm sure you've done a great job. I've not seen the film yet, so I'm looking forward to watching it. But I think Iske Baad, what ambitions, goals, what other projects do you have that we can perhaps look forward to as well from you?
So one of them is announced. I'm doing something with the OTT platform Hotstar. It's in Telugu. It is named Indu. My character is Indu,
Oh, nice.
and it's a suspense thriller. And I'm really looking forward to it because it's a remake of a Bengali series named Indu. It's a very successful one in Bengal, and we are hoping to do justice to it. That's one. Other than that, I have two of my own production movies in Telugu. Post production is on, so in a few months I'll have clarity on the release and everything. Other than that, in Hindi, I'm waiting, to be very honest. I want to wait for 1920. I want to see the result. I want to understand what people have in mind for me. I
Mm,
want to understand what audience thinks about me. And then I would want to take a step ahead and choose a script or choose a team that I should work with. And I think that's going to be a very thoughtful process. And other than that, yeah, there are other three projects in Telugu. Yeah, so yeah, it's
oh, wow.
exciting.
That is, and I must also say as well, like, one thing that I love about Indian cinema generally, and I think even if we talk about the non-Hindi brackets, I mean, I'm not
Yes.
going to talk about the North versus South thing because honestly, there's a lot I can say as well. I don't want to indulge into that. But I think the beauty is the fact that the fact that Telugu cinema, especially in South, I think it really the approach that they take, especially when it comes to the filmmaking, um, there's a very humble approach that I find. They're
Yeah.
very grounded in a sense, but they're very rooted, and I think they also give opportunities and platforms to Hindi actors or Hindi speaking actors who perhaps never got that due credit in the mainstream front. I mean, even if we look at Jyotika ma'am in Tamil, right now Mrunal is doing superbly in South as well. So many other wonderful actors as well. Rakul Preet, I mean, Tapsi, so many wonderful actors, I mean, who had that journey. So do you feel as well that South has really been that, massive pickup for you in that sense, in terms of giving you that platform, that voice for you to actually project yourself?
100%. I was 15 and a half when I did my first film.
Wow.
And it was amazing. The punctuality, the enthusiasm that I learned from them, the creativity, the scripts, the concept, this is so good.
Mm,
And just to be a part of a good project is what, at the end of the day makes you feel content, makes you feel really satisfied. And I think that is what South has been doing this for me for many, many years now. I really enjoy doing Telugu projects, and thankfully people have really liked my work there, which is why I keep getting work there. And it feels like home now. When we went to Hyderabad for promoting 1920, and I happened to invite Nagarjuna sir there,
mm,
it felt like I am inviting Nagarjuna sir with me along with me on the stage to invite Mahesh Bhatt and Krishna Bhatt in Hyderabad. It was like it's us inviting them. Like I felt like a part of the Telugu audience, the Telugu people. And I think that happens when you receive that kind of love. I have received so much love from the audience in Telugu that I don't think I'll ever stop working there. It just gives me so much it just gives me so much happiness doing Telugu projects. And it's not just about like people think that there are just only bigger films that are being made like Bahubali and RRR. No, that's not true. There are so many simpler, smaller films also.
mhm,
They are doing wonders. Like my first film, 2013 release, I think it was a December release, and we had so many bigger names, bigger releases along with it. But my film was considered a very big hit because
mm,
people wanted to see something simple at that time. People wanted to see something really basic that just touches their heart, and they just wanted to smile when they come out.
mm,
And that worked, and it really worked. And I think since then, people have this uh, connectivity with me of sorts where people understand that इसका मूवी है तो देखना है, ये अपना है, this is
हाँ,
our girl. And I think when that happens, when that's the kind of connection you make with your audience, that's like the most beautiful one.
for sure. No, absolutely. Well, look, Avika, may you continue to keep maintaining that connection. It's been such a pleasure to have you on
Thank
filmishilmy.com.
you.
Thanks to 1920 Horror of the Heart, we've been able to have this wonderful chat. And yeah, thank you for being such an inspiration. Honestly, you're such a
Thank
wonderful
you. How
actor. It was great to
sweet.
see you on screen. So, yeah, look forward to seeing more work from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you. Bye.
you.